Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to continue here. I've got a couple of matters that I want to bring to the committee's attention. First of all, as you know, we received a list from the Prime Minister's office the other day with respect to meetings, a motion that was passed by the committee to have, I'm not going to read the motion, but in my opinion, the list that was given to us was not complete. Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett. I see you. Was not complete in the sense that the committee had asked in its motion, and this is the issue that I need direction on, that the time and date at which those meetings took place and what was discussed in those meetings, none of that was indicated in the correspondence that we received from the Prime Minister's office. So I believe that the list that was presented to the committee based on this motion is incomplete. It didn't meet the subject of the demands of the committee, and so I am seeking direction on this issue, what members of the committee would like me to do, given the fact that, again, I don't believe that the information is complete. So I am going to start, Mr. Barrett, you had your hand up. I'm going to go to you first, sir, for comments on this, and I'm seeking out the opinion of the committee as well. I see your hands. I've got Mr. Saray as well, so, and Mr. Hardy. Go ahead, Mr. Barrett, to start.
So we passed a motion for the production of documents, and we didn't get that. What we got was a document that seemed to have been created for the purposes of responding to the committee. We asked specifically for records. What the Prime Minister's office produced is now a record, but it wasn't a record that likely even existed when the motion was passed. What should have been in there? So we should have seen calendar entries, we should have seen emails, briefing notes, memos, anything that was prepared by the Prime Minister's office or his department, the Privy Council office, for these meetings or about the meetings. The problem is that the committee ordered the production, and it's not reasonable that what was produced aligns with what was ordered. And there's no records of what was discussed. There's no details of the meetings. So committees have two options in these situations. They can accept that when they issue an order that the recipients do not need to heed the order, which is binding on the recipient. Or they can remedy it. And the remedy for committee is to refer the matter to the House, because it's a contempt of members' privileges. We're just getting started here. I don't think that if given the chance, that if the intent of the Prime Minister's office and the Prime Minister is to do the right thing and to respect the rights of members, of all members, I believe that that if that's their intent, that they will furnish the committee with the records. Now, if it is not their intent, then it is a question of privileges of the House having been of members having been breached of this committee. So what's reasonable to do here? So it is reasonable and fair that I move a motion that we refer the matter to the House. However, I would propose that we take a look at the calendar. The date by which this production order was to be fulfilled has passed. it was not clear, and that you, the clerk through you, Chair, could correct me if I'm wrong, if we have accepted a standard on what a week is, if we're talking business days, if we're talking a calendar week, are we backing out the holiday? But I think that the attempt was to see if we'd be satisfied with what we received. Again, I don't believe it's reasonable, that it's a reasonable interpretation of the motion to furnish us only with those details. The week has passed. It's the 20th of October. I would propose that that by the 29th, the Prime Minister's office furnish us with the materials as ordered by the committee, and then we consider what to do next. But it really is a binary. Either we accept that we can order, that we have those powers, which are established, or we accept that we don't. And we do have those powers, and it's important that they remain protected, because they aren't ours. They don't belong to me. They belong to parliamentarians. They belong, to members of the House. They belong to future members of the House as they belong to past and current members, and we need to protect them. And so, let's just. I think that the original order was for a week. This is a week and a half, but I'm going to be specific and give a date: the 29th of October. And I know that the committee doesn't need to do anything. The chair could furnish them with a letter. You've been charged with the committee to request this information from the Prime Minister's office already. So that already has happened. But I know that their parliamentary affairs team, that they're logged in, that they're watching the meeting. They know. We don't need to pass another motion. We already did. Members of the Prime Minister's party sit on this committee. They can let him know. Prime Minister, we've got a week and a half just to respect the rights of members of the House of Commons and committees of the House. And I think that was the intention. If the intention was for to satisfy this motion, if that is the spirit with which they wish to approach it, then we'll have the documents by the 29th. And if it's not, then it's a matter of contempt that should be referred to the House for consideration. And so let's just appeal to everyone's better angels and see if we can't get this done by the 29th. And if not, then I would bring a motion to the committee to refer the matter to the House.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett. I guess, you're quite right in the sense that what I'm looking for is direction from the committee on how they want to proceed with this, if in fact they feel that all the information hasn't been provided based on what's in the motion. I can, obviously through the clerk, we sent the motion to the Prime Minister's office and the Privy Council office. They responded back. There is the option of the chair sending a letter on behalf of the committee. But again, this is where I'm seeking guidance and feedback on. Monsieur Sarré, vous avez la parole.
Mr. Sarré, I wanted to respond to your question. I would just like for our team to take a minute, if we could suspend so we can discuss. And I would like to share my point of view afterwards, but I would like for us to suspend for just a minute, please.
I will give you that time for 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay.
2 minutes,
That's
okay?
just for
Because I don't want to
okay.
come back and have another
Okay, no,
suspension.
okay,
You take 2 minutes, and then we'll go from there. Meeting is suspended for 2 minutes. Back to order. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to go to Ms. Church. There were some discussions that happened between the parties that I think we can find a quick resolution to this. Ms. Church, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are, in principle, fine with returning the motion. I think what we'd propose is that we amend it, maybe a friendly amendment, to include that the motion apply to the Privy Council office in addition to the Prime Minister's office. So we think that may elicit some of the additional records that Mr. Barrett is seeking here.
So I'm going to have to refer to the clerk here because I don't have an official motion that we're discussing. But if it's direction from the committee, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, perhaps the easiest way to deal with this, Ms. Church, is for me on behalf of the committee to send a letter to the Prime Minister's office and the PCO, the Privy Council office, clarifying what the committee's position was with respect to the motion and expecting a response from the Privy Council office by, what date did we?
29th?
29th? Okay. Is that, I mean, that might be the easiest way to deal with this, frankly, rather than go into a formalized motion, because we've already disposed of the motion already.
Yeah.
So we can't amend something that, without a motion being on the floor. So I'm seeking guidance on.
I'm in your hands, Chair.
okay.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Does that sound reasonable to you, Mr. Barrett, or?
If I may, so I think that if on consensus we're giving direction to you, Chair, to request the information consistent with the original motion, to include the Privy Council office. And I say to include, as a matter of principle, I do think it's very important that we establish the rights of committees to order the production from departments and ministries, including the PMO, including the PCO. I very much appreciate the opportunity to be precise in this. And what would be disappointing, but also damaging to the rights of committees and members, would be if we later found out through an access to information request filed by a journalist or a member of the public that there were records in the Prime Minister's office. So what I would say is, and again, I think that that this is the kind of good faith that when I said, like, let's do this in a week and a half, this is exactly what I was hoping for. That this is the Prime Minister's office, that it includes the Prime Minister's office and the Privy Council office. Because if all of the records, or 99% of them, are domiciled in PCO, great. But if there's some exchanges that happened in the Prime Minister's office that are captured by the original motion that perhaps just weren't furnished to the committee originally, I think that being provided to us by the 29th would satisfy the intent of what we're looking to achieve here, and then we would have established that the committee's right to that information was respected by the PMO and by the PCO. So that's really the only precision. I just want to make sure that we're not saying, okay, well, there's nothing that the PMO has, so we'll go all to the PCO. If it, like I said, if there's nothing pertinent, it is what it is. But if we later find out through another means that something gets caught in an ATIP, well, it's a problem that then would need to be rectified again by the committee or by the House, and let's just avoid it on the front end. And because I think that the spirit of what's being proposed by Ms. Church is exactly in line with what the committee, the motion that the committee passed.
Yeah, and I do take your point on that, Mr. Barrett. We have to proceed on the assumption that information is available as well, right? It may not be available through the Prime Minister's office. It may be. That's up to them to determine. But the one thing that the motion did not call for, and the spirit and intent of what Ms. Church is saying now, excuse me, is that we do include the Privy Council office in this. So that's where we're at. So, I can, if it's the will of the committee, and I think this is the easiest path forward, to write a letter to both the Prime Minister's office, the Privy Council office, reiterating what was in the motion, what the request of the committee was in the motion, and ensuring that information be provided to the committee by October 29th. I think that would be the proper course of action here.
Indeed.
So, Monsieur Thériault, suivi par Monsieur Sari.
Followed by Mr. Sari. Thank you, Chair. I wanted to raise a rule that I had brought up previously at committee. That we need to have the highest level of transparency, given that this is an unusual situation, never before seen here in Canada. And so for travel, work meetings, and witnesses have told us that ethics screens are only worth as much as the transparency that are associated with them. And so if the Prime Minister has nothing to hide, he should be able to respond. And I believe that the 29th is a reasonable date to respond to the request by the committee. And I agree with you taking those steps.
See, Mr. Thériault.
Thank you, Mr. Thériault. Mr. Sari. I might give the floor to Ms. Church because I wanted to come back to the main issue, but I would like to come back to the question regarding the directives. Ms. Church?
No? OK. OK, alors je reviens sur la question.
All right, so I'll come back to the main matter at hand, Chair. And I'm happy that you asked what we would like to do. When I heard the updated request by Mr. Barrett, I found that it seemed like an update, and there were things added. Wording that we had received, and you are a chair with a lot of experience, and I appreciate how this committee works, but we need to be more clear in our wording so that we leave little room for interpretation. Because with this back and forth, it leads us to wasting a bit of time because we received what we had asked for. That is what the Prime Minister's office gave us. And so in future, Chair, when we are writing motions, I think that, and it's our understanding on this side of the room, that everything that was requested was given. And then now we have an update on what is exhaustive, complete. This is slowing things down, and it makes it seem like the request was not responded to, even though it had been responded to. It was responded to quickly, but now we're requesting more information. I think that the initial request was not clear enough. Thank you, Chair.
Hardy.
Mr. Hardy. Mr. Hardy. Thank you. I just wanted to follow up on what was said. Here at committee, we've wanted to look into our principles and stop trying to focus too much on the little nitpicky details. The ethics commissioner, who was here the other day, stated that there were too often meetings where there were no minutes taken, people were meeting and speaking about matters of national interest, and we're not aware of that. And so, in response to all of that, we're making a request that seems to be clear. We want to know what's happening in these meetings. If the Prime Minister is meeting with influential people to build a stronger Canada, like he says, he should have nothing to hide. Tell us what happened. The Ethics Commissioner and the Lobbying Commissioner states that that was too much. A week later, we receive a list with no additional information. We don't know when they met with each other. We don't know what was said at these meetings. And we need to believe in good faith that it was in Canada's interest. But we want Canada to believe in its institutions, so that's our role. I don't have an issue with us wanting to have well-worded motions. I think that it was clear we wanted to know what was happening behind closed doors, and it's in the interest of Canadians. I think that we'll work as a team and we'll be able to reach that goal. Hopefully, it's not something that you guys already knew and that you slowed the process down willingly. If we want to work for Canada, we have to stop with the nitpicky details. We need to listen to our experts who are saying We need more transparency. We need to know who was met with and at what time. We need a registry. And when we ask for that information, it needs to be given. Thank you, Mr. Hardy.
I don't have any other hands up on this. What I'm going to do with the clerk is to reflect what was agreed to, and I want to thank Ms. Church for proposing this. And it will, the minutes will be reflected in this way, and that is that it was agreed that in relation to the motion adopted on October 8th, 2025, and the documents received, that the chair send a letter to PMO and PCO to reiterate the desire of the committee to receive the documents requested no later than October 29th. Does that reflect the spirit of the conversation that we just had? And we're all in agreement with that? Okay, thank you for that direction.